on the bus, on the plane, in the facility today. He's responded as well as he could possibly do it, and we've all noticed that. He was a tremendous leader for us, and he gave us a lot of energy, the way that he led the unit. And so, I can't be a robot coach and say that we're not going to be missing that, because we will. I'm expecting to make a full recovery and ready for the 2021 season.
It's important to note that Taylor would not clarify whether he meant the start of the 2021 season or just at some point during the season. We bring in Adam Schefter now. What more do we know, Adam, about the injury at this point?
Well, this was a worst-case scenario, Laura, for the Cincinnati Bengals, Joe Burrow, and the National Football League. Basically, he tore his ACL, he tore his MCL. He did suffer other damage to that knee that I do believe includes his PCL and the meniscus in his knee. He's going to undergo reconstructive knee surgery. And the general timeline for injuries of this sort are 9 to 12 months. So just do the math. Now, again, everybody's different. Everybody heals differently and recovers from surgery differently and rehabs differently. But a best case scenario for Joe Burrow, best case, would be 9 months. So do the math. More likely, it's going to be longer than that. And the Bengals are going to be very careful with Joe Burrow moving forward. At the very least, Joe Burrow's status for the 2021 season, the start of that season is absolutely in question, and we'll see when he can make it back during the season next year. But this was the worst case scenario for the Cincinnati Bengals. The MRI came back worse than what was anticipated.
Just so tough to hear. More from Adam Schefter throughout this show. And we will have Stefania Bell joining us as well for more of a medical update on this. But Dan, you're cringing even as Schefter was delivering that news. What ran through your mind when you saw this?
It's gut-wrenching. You feel terrible. It makes me feel the same way I felt when I saw Dak Prescott get hurt. Like, you're just at a loss for words, and your thoughts and prayers go out to him. But then you just hope that Joe Burrow can get back healthy, but my brain immediately goes to 2022. It doesn't go to 2021. Like, yes, technically, maybe he'll be able to come back and play next season. But what kind of shape is he going to be in, or how healthy is he going to play at that level or be able to play at level? And then also, one of the things that makes Joe Burrow special is the instincts, is the reaction, is the athlete that he actually is, especially in that small space that he plays in. How is that going to impact that? Like, how is this injury going to impact his superpower, which is those instincts and reactions? And so it's awful. I feel terrible. Just hope and pray that he can come back to full strength.
You know, covering him extensively in college and his journey even to become the starter at LSU and, of course, in that remarkable season, one thing remained the same for Burrow throughout all of that, and it was the toughness, the grit, the desire to compete. That will be applied to his rehab. I think you could look at this as, obviously, they got to make sure he's completely healthy, but the sooner probably more than the later for him coming back. He'll be so motivated to get back. All right, let's get back to Sunday Night Football, a showdown between the Raiders and Chiefs that came down to the wire. Dan Orlovsky, a rematch, of course, from Week 5, and the Raiders got the better of the Chiefs that time. But let's pick it up in the fourth. About 6 minutes left. First and goal there in Mahomes to Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah, this is a great job by that offense, capturing the perimeter, getting out to Le'Veon Bell in space, and he finds the end zone touchdown, Chiefs.
The Chiefs would regain the lead there later in the fourth. A little over 2 minutes left to play. First and goal. Jason Witten caused the false start penalty.
Come on, Witt, you know better than that, but this is a great job of continuing to play for Derek Carr. Scramble. Witten goes to the back pylon. He sees it the same way as Carr and goes, you know what, I got to come back to the quarterback towards that front pylon. Touchdown Raiders.
He redeems himself. The Raiders with the lead. 1:43 to play. Chiefs down by 3 there. And Mahomes to Mecole Hardman, a gain of 16 yards. That's first down. Next play, Mahomes to Kelsey.
That's a good job of seeing that safety hang high to his left and finding the soft spot to Kelsey in the middle of the field.
Just 34 seconds left. What would happen here for Mahomes? Once again to Kelsey.
We know what's going to happen. We know that Patrick Mahomes is going to find somebody weapon-wise on that offense to create that touchdown for the Chiefs. It's an awesome job of him moving, keeping his eyes downfield, and finding Kelsey in the middle of that end zone.
What a final 2 minutes of that game. Chiefs go on to win it 35-31, and Patrick Mahomes was unbelievable. But how about what he's done in the fourth quarter and overtimes this season, completing over 70% of his passes for over 8 yards an attempt, 10 touchdowns, a QBR of 96.4. That's the second highest QBR through 10 games over the last 15 seasons, trailing only Tom Brady's mark in 2007, just ahead of Tim Tebow's legendary run in 2011. So Dan, the thing is, the Raiders almost did enough to shut down Mahomes and beat the Chiefs for the second time. Why did they come up short? Where exactly did they fall short?
Well, they've got the perfect formula, right? But like Brandy said, almost doesn't count. And it came down to a fourth down play and really that touchdown from Patrick Mahomes to Kelsey that wins the game for them. As well as the Raiders played, it wasn't good enough because they've got number 15, Patrick Mahomes, and Andy Reid dialing it up. And that's the difference between that football team and everybody else. No matter how good the Raiders can play and know how well they can operate their formula, it wasn't going to be enough.
I'm just wondering, like, if anyone had placed a bet on the first person on NFL Live to quote Brandy, who would have picked Dan Orlovsky out of us? Look, I want to be clear about something. Patrick Mahomes, like, we shouldn't take him for granted. He's approaching that LeBron territory where we're so used to his excellence, we're kind of not impressed by it anymore, or we don't talk about it enough. Patrick Mahomes is incredible. The Chiefs won that game. But America knew that. I think what a lot of America didn't know is how well Derek Carr has been playing. He has been better this season than he was back in 2016 when he was being talked about as an MVP candidate before he got hurt. For a couple of reasons. One, he is airing the ball out. He is taking risks downfield, which is something that Raiders fans have been desperate for him to do. The other thing that jumps out to me, Ryan, is that he's been making plays out of structure. You saw that right here on the Witten touchdown. He was scrambling around back there, using his feet, keeping the play alive. This is a new Derek Carr, and it is why this Raiders offense is one of the scariest in the NFL. The defense isn't quite there, but the offense is good enough to make this a playoff contender.
Yeah, Ryan, let's continue on that same trend there. Why have the Raiders given the Chiefs such a hard time now in their two matchups this year?
Well, listen, when you face unique excellence, you try to figure out a way to beat it. And if you're in the AFC West, you understand that the Kansas City Chiefs come to town and that they are going to score points. So what do? You figure out ways to score points. But most teams are like, we're going to stop them. The Raiders say we can win a shootout. They won a shootout in Kansas City early on in the season. And you saw last night that the Kansas City Chiefs really couldn't stop the Las Vegas Raiders. The only mistake this offense made was scoring a little bit too early and giving Patrick Mahomes the football back. I said early on in the season, I like the Pittsburgh Steelers in a playoff game against the Kansas City Chiefs, not necessarily to beat them, but to compete because they would have a quarterback that wouldn't be scared to look across the field and see Patrick Mahomes. You know who else isn't scared? Derek Carr. When Derek Carr looks across that field and then he looks down his sideline, he says, I got the dudes on this side and I'm that dude too. And he went toe-to-toe with Patrick Mahomes 2 times this year and he's looked magnificent doing it. This team is built to win a shootout. Going to be fun to see what happens down the stretch.
There's something, Dan, that you saw in the fourth quarter of this game that really stuck out to you. What was it?
Well, go to the 4th and 2 play because it ends up being a huge play in this game, and they get into that bunch that the Raiders are going to all-out pressure them. They're going to take the inside receiver, Tyreek Hill, and clear out. Now you're playing in and out by those 2 secondary players. The outside guy has to take the inside breaking receiver. You get that inside safety to just take a couple steps wide. Mahomes drifts against that pressure. Huge first down. That's a huge conversion in the fourth quarter with 8:30 to go. And then go to the touchdown play. Jonathan Abram, how can we put him in conflict? Tyreek Hill, you go up top, run a go route. Travis Kelsey, you run the crossing seam. And this is what I love about Patrick Mahomes. Leave the pocket because you want to, not because you have to. Stare to the right, knowing top of the screen, top left corner, Abrams got to follow. He can't help himself. And you take that safety from that zone, you open it up, and Kelsey becomes the winning touchdown. Because Patrick Mahomes can do that stuff. He's the difference maker in that football game.
Yeah, this game featured 4 lead changes in the fourth quarter alone, including 2 go-ahead touchdown passes in the final 2 minutes. It was wild.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll see more of that tonight on Monday Night Football. All right, breaking news right now on a couple of fronts. Adam Schefter, what else can you tell us?
Oh, Laura, as is the case on Mondays, news flows in. Panthers running back Christian McCaffrey